Beals here with no nonsense, cause you can't make sense if you don't make sense. A pod with freestyle discussion, poetry and social deconstruction.
Welcome to the No Nonsense Podcast. I'm your host, Big Beals. Today with Little
Burn.
It is our 22nd anniversary of the podcast.
No nonsense.
On November the 18th, 2014. Let's start it off with a little poem. You've seen them old and you've seen them new. They're on every door that you've gone through. They're in places that are cold where you have to wear boots, like the warm symphony playing those flutes. They're also places where it's warm and you're wearing the sandals. That's right, baby. I'm talking about door handles. So, Burn, obviously with every door on the market these days, we're seeing lots of different types of handles going through. And my first question begs to ask, what kind of handle is the most efficient handle?
I would say bronze capper.
Now, with the bronze capper, it's got a smooth finish to it. It's got a 2x106 on 9 on there, and it's got that nice acrylic kind of shine and shimmer to it. But what about the brass knuckle?
The brass knuckle's a good doorknob as well, but I wouldn't buy it without a BB 1279 hinge.
Now, is that a buyer's market or a seller's market hinge?
That is a producer straight market value CBS home market value hinge.
Now, let me ask you about the recent outbreak in Ebola and how we can see that most commonly Ebola is spread through the use of door handles.
Right. And they're thinking about banning all door handles, and which is why I'm considering lobbying my congressman with the vast amounts of wealth I've gained through the door handle industry. And they've benefited me for about 275 years, and I think it's the least I can do is write my congressman and say, hey, these door handles, they might be spreading Ebola, but as we established earlier in the pod, that might be the thing that helps get you ripped without even working for it. So maybe Ebola's not all that bad.
I would say that Ebola actually is a little overrated in its effectiveness to hurt people. Now, let me ask you this, Burn. We're seeing more and more these days people opting to go with doors without handles. What do you think of this controversy?
Well, I think it kind of gets me hot and steamy, especially when I'm in a steam bath. And when Greeks enter my bath and they start talking to me about, handles not being on doors, I get really confrontational because I cannot stand it when I've been in an industry for that long. And then they're going to tell me that any spring-related dog is going to be coming outside of a born interest rate. It makes me want to take a house and flip it and sell it to another Greek.
Alert! That's coming in! We'll go straight to the news panel!
This just breaking. Plant life conservationists are in a heated political battle regarding the fate of Venus flytraps. They claim that elitist one-percenters with an oil-based agenda have released pernicious gas to all Lowe's hardware stores to destroy the Venus flytrap population. Scientists are writing letters to their respective congressmen, begging for a change in the laws regarding jaw-like plant life. The Venus flytraps are considering massive migration to a more hospitable political climate in either Iceland or Belgium. Rumor has it that lobbyists from large oil companies have pushed for legislation that hampers Venus fly plant growth due to fear that they could one day grow big enough to physically eat them all and eradicate the big oil industry in the United States. Scientists find these fears to be irrational and claim Venus flytraps could only grow big enough to eat a group of 5 to 7 humans at a time. Only time will tell who will win this battle of oil execs and big business versus scientists and Venus flytraps.
Wow, that was awesome, Beals. I didn't know that was like that.
Yes, it is a controversial statement, but I believe that the allegations are true. Now, Burns, let me ask you about a couple more things about handles here. We are seeing more and more college students unable to afford handles after they get out of college. And what do you say to that controversy?
That's because they're taking out all these loans, as you know about. But actually, that's where the college students are messing up. They're blaming the government. But at the same time, they should have never taken the loans. They should have just been stealing door handles and selling them at discounted rates.
All right.
And then they would never, they wouldn't have any of those loans, and they could have used the handles as a passage to get through college. Any comfortable blacktop road you could find in western Montana.
Now, are you saying that this is why the Montana businesses have opted out to not sell handles to gay marriage?
Yeah, I think it is, but they're very conservative when it comes to gay marriage and handles, but they're also very progressive when it comes to handles in any winter storm outside the Leaf Harbor. So, I mean, you kind of mix and match those two things, and I mean, you kind of get a neutral political mix, and that's better than a lot of states can say there, Bill.
Well, I've also heard that every other state in the union has been more inclined to create these new houses that are made entirely from door handles. No wood, no siding, all handles. What do you say to that, Bill?
They're thinking about using 3D printers to print these handle-based houses. And what Fed Fernacki is saying about this is that he's not going to be subsidizing these house loans on teaser-back rates. And
should he?
No, I mean, I don't think he should unless they're located in the Church's Park. Because they have a deep underground oil well that goes down to the Earth's core, back up again, takes any dead squirrel rabbit you can find, and then they mix them up and they build a solid foundation of a house that you could build at the American forefront industry.
But I would argue that 3D printers are made from handles themselves.
Well, then you get into the whole paradox, the grandfather paradox. I mean, we don't want to get into that there, do we, Bill?
I think actually I would like to take a moment and step into the paradox. Now, handles being made from handles. This is not something that has made much sense. Scientists have been looking at this for thousands and thousands of years. Right. So, do you think with the new advent of the new political party of Mario Party going to really change the way that this 3D printer prints 3D printed handled printers?
I mean, they're saying Bowser Jr. is causing a whole political landslide in the debates in terms of handle versus pro-action cons. And what we could take there is that, if you have the Super C video game and you combine it with handles, you can create this type of atmospheric, incandescent, grass-littered bong that you can pass down to your children and then give it back to any future generations you can have at discounted Lamar rates. And so what we tend to see here is Lakeland 4865 making these handle-based houses, building a strong foundation for any MVP black cars that you could build with tar on the market.
I think Conway Phrase never said it any better than you did. What I'd also
what do you think about handles? I mean, are you a fan of them? Do you have one in your house? So just let me ask you that.
I do think that handles are a very important infrastructure to the United States, and we see in the military how they're using handles to make drones out in the world that are actually more efficient in finding out who and what is doing who and what. And so I think the handle industry has grown significantly over the years. I've invested plenty of my own personal money into the handle industry, and I think that with the new advent of new allegations against the subprime market fund, I think that we'll find that handles, both the musician and the object, will be seeing a lot more financial gain in the future.
Now here's what I think. I mean, I think handles built on Amazon-based drones compared to the government-based drones are going to be leading the brigade in this country to any foxhole outside of the United States in France times multiply and a half.
That multiply times and a half really signifies what this conversation was all about. All right, Burn, we're going to go ahead and end the podcast like we normally do with a wonderful poem. Please take it away.
I just bought a door without a handle. How am I gonna deal without having the handle? I'm like Ned Flanders. I got a hyper sense of humor, but I don't know how to put it into words without a handle. So someone please buy me a candle and get me strapping on a straddle on that boat with the mechanical bull and buy me a handle.
Thank you for listening to the podcast number 22.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Hope you got some insight and a few laughs. That's all for now, folks. Yes, goodbye. Till next time, as long as we don't die.